Hi everybody, it's Hilary here from We Love Smart Keto. Hope you're doing really well today. What we're going to be talking about today is what fats to eat on keto. So give me a 1 if you're watching live in the stream, and give me a 2 if you're watching it on replay. We've had some trouble in the past with people being able to hear, so hopefully you can give me a 1 if you can hear me. Okay, that would be really helpful. So as I said, we're going to be talking about fats and what fats to eat on keto. So as we know, keto is low carb, high fat, moderate protein diet, and a way of eating, a lifestyle of eating. And so what I want to talk about is, can you eat any fat, or what kind of fats matter? So just going to see who's here. Diane, hello. How lovely to see you here today. Great to have you on the stream. We're going to be talking today about fats, and the reason it's important for us to know what kinds of fats to eat on keto is because there are certain kinds of fats that are less good for us, or in fact can even be toxic for us than other types of fats. So that's what I really want to talk about today. Oh, that's great. I'm glad that's what you want to hear about today, Diane. That's great. So as we know, we're trying to aim for less than 20 grams of net carbs. And the last stream I did, we talked about what net carbs are and how you can stay under that limit. You want to have low carbs, and then we want to have moderate protein, so 1 to 2 grams of protein for every kilo of lean body weight that you have. So your muscles, your bones, your organs, not counting the fat in your body. So somebody that's 5 foot, that would be sort of typically 75 grams of protein, which is about 150 gram a piece of meat, something 150 gram piece of meat, something like that. And then we want to have the remainder of it as fat. So it typically works out about 60% of what we're eating is fat. So first of all, let's just have a quick talk about why it is that we've got high fat. Can anybody tell me in the comments what's the primary role of fats when we're on a keto lifestyle? I wonder if you know what it is. So actually, it's slightly counterintuitive. The main reason that we've got higher fats is because we don't need to have carbs in our diet. Carbs is not an essential food group. The protein we need for the amino acids that are the building blocks to enable us to have muscles and to enable some of the building blocks that we need for our bodies. But too much protein, the fat to burn calories, kind of, Diane. So that is the case. But the primary thing that the fat does is actually helps reduce our hunger. Okay, so it makes us feel full. It's a word called satiety, which means satiated, which means full. So the primary thing of the fat is to enable us to feel full, and it enables us not. And so if we're full, then we don't eat sugar. We don't eat carbohydrates, and those carbohydrates create sugar glucose in our bloodstream. That's what keeps our insulin high, and insulin stops fat coming out of our fat cells. It says, no, go on, glucose, get into those fat cells. We need you for storage. So if we're not eating carbs and we're keeping ourselves full with the fats, it then enables us to go into a state of ketosis. And your body goes, oh, I've got no glucose to burn. I've run out of, there's no gluconeogenesis, so there's no glucose being made out of the protein because I'm not overeating the protein. I'm just eating enough for my building needs, bodybuilding needs, not my bodybuilding, but for body maintenance and repair. So there's nothing else left to burn apart from fat. And so it's safe to come out fat from the fat cells. You're the long-term storage. We've hit the needs where we need to get our energy out of long-term storage. So that's the main reason for eating fats, is to keep us full without needing to eat carbs or protein. So that's the principal reason. But so is that helpful? I hope did you learn something different or new? Did you get an insight? Just let me know in the comments around that. So again, if we're trying to lose weight, it's important to just eat enough fats to keep us full, to make us feel comfortably full, not overly full like you get at Thanksgiving or at Christmas, just full enough to feel comfortable. And that's the amount of fat that we should be eating. We don't need to target getting to that level. Oh, that's great. I'm glad that you learned something new. So that was helpful and insightful. That's good. So now let's move on and talk about what type of fats. Now, as I hinted before, not all fats are created equal. So let's start off with the sort of fats that we don't want to eat. So it's not recommended to eat hydrogenated fat. So that's the sort of fat that trans fat we all know is a bad thing. And the reason for trans fats was they would have liquid oils, liquid seed oils, and they wanted to make them into margarine. And so they put them through a process and hydrogenated them. So hydrogenated, very simple concept. So fats are made of, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So the carbons would be joined like this, if you can see my fingers, with two bonds, and that's an unsaturated fat. And so what would happen is that with a process with oxygen, those could be come free. I know it looks like a little insect, but those could come free and join to something else, and that's a hydrogenated fat. But the trouble is that those are not good for our bodies and are toxic. And by making it more stable, what happens is those would then become solid. But the thing was that they would create types of fats that are not natural for us to eat, and that was what became toxic. So we don't want to eat hydrogenated fats, anything with trans fats, and you'll see that most things now say that they're hydrogenated fat-free or trans fat-free. So, that's been sort of eliminated for us largely by, government policy, which is a good thing. But then those were made out of seed oil, so things like canola oil, which is made of a range of different a range of different seeds. Things like Crisco, which is made of cottonseed oil. Things like sunflower seed oil. Those kinds of oils, peanut oil, sesame oils, made from seeds, and actually that takes quite a bit of processing to make that. And to extract the oil from the seeds, it's not as simple as just crushing the seed. They have to put it through a series of processes to get those oils out. And they're polyunsaturated fats. They're liquid at room temperature, and they have this freedom to connect with other particles, to be oxidized, and so really, and have a lot of free radicals. So not good for us in our system. So we really shouldn't be, while they're fats, you really shouldn't be eating seed oils on the keto lifestyle. So that's one that we shouldn't be eating. So tell me if you eat seed oils at all at the moment. Put seed in the comments, and if you don't, put seed oil free in the comments. Just be interesting to know. So personally, when I went on keto, I went through all my cupboards and I just got rid of all of those seed oils, all the sesame oils and things from my cupboard. So what is so there's a couple of things that we shouldn't eat. So what is good to eat on keto? What fats are good to eat on keto? Well, as much as possible, we should be trying to eat fats just incorporated with the food itself. And as we know, it's perfectly possible to be keto if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, as well as an omnivore or even a carnivore. Personally, I'm an omnivore. I was a vegetarian many years ago, but now I'm an omnivore. And so we want to be eating as much as possible the fat just incorporated in the natural products, the natural foods that we're eating. So, for example, if you're eating some meat, try and eat the fattier cuts, and that has fat incorporated in the meat. No need to cut the fat off. And there's also fat just within the fiber. So a good steak, some bacon, some fish, salmon is a beautiful, or trout, beautiful example of a fattier fish. Chicken with the skin on, you're just getting the fat naturally. Avocado, for example, you're getting all the nutrients from that avocado with the fiber and also with the fat from that avocado. So really good to eat it all just incorporated within that natural food. So then there's the sort of the level 2 foods that we talked about before. I don't know if you saw the video on processing of food and the different levels of processed food. So that was the level 1 kind of eating, completely natural foods. Level 2 is food that, we add as a condiment to things. And so that's sort of the oils that we're talking about. Now, the better oils are the oils that are solid at room temperature, because they're the saturated fats, and so they're not going to create those any oxidation or any free radicals. That's things like butter, which has got the natural, it's been processed. It's got simple process, and the whey has been removed, so it's just leaving us with the fats. Cheese is also a good option as having the fats in, not so much an oil. Coconut oil is also a good option. Palm oil is okay. I'm not keen on palm oil because of the deforestation, the environmental aspects of that. But if it's sustainably harvested palm oil, then okay, because they're solid at room temperature, and fats, lard, suet, all the old-fashioned ones that I remember my grandparents, used to have sitting on the kitchen bench and cooked with. So those are good fats to have. If you want to have a liquid fat, and I personally do have liquid fats because I like to make mayonnaise, and I also use it sometimes for cooking and for salad dressings. The sorts of fats that you want are the monounsaturated rather than the polyunsaturated fats. So that's olive oil, which is a monounsaturated fat. It's got kind of this, golden godlike status as a wonderful fat. It's a pretty good fat. The solid fats are a bit better, but and as simple as you can, the extra virgin, which means it's only been pressed once to get the oil out. Obviously, the more times they press it to try and extract the oil from the olives, the more processed it is. I try to use extra virgin olive oil. There's one time when I don't use the extra virgin olive oil, and I use the light olive oil, and that's when I'm making mayonnaise, because I find that the smell or the strength of the extra virgin olive oil, I just find it a bit strong when I'm making mayonnaise. So I use the sort of the lighter one when I'm making a mayonnaise. And the other liquid oil that I use quite a bit is macadamia oil. It obviously comes from Australia, comes from the tropics in the northern part of Australia. Absolutely wonderful oil to use, very good for cooking meats because it has a very high smoking point. So it can be a little bit on the pricier side, but it is an oil that I do really like. So tell me in the comments, what's your preferred oil for cooking with or adding to your food? I would say with oils, with salad dressing, it's actually a really good idea to make your salads or your veggies, add some oil to your veggies. And the reason is because a lot of the vitamins in vegetables are actually fat soluble. So in order to be able to get more of those into your body, it's really good to add some oil to your salad or your veggies, because it allows that the vitamins to go into the oils, and it makes it easier for your body to absorb those vitamins. So it's a good suggestion to do that. So olive oil, yeah, good choice, Diane. And obviously the higher quality olive oil that you can afford, the better. There's a lot of myths around olive oil, but just as low process as good quality as you can afford. The other thing just to be aware with oils, particularly with olive oil, is if it's been sitting in the cupboard for a really long time, or you've got it sitting out on the bench, it can go rancid. So, it's a bit like wine, a red wine can go off. So same with olive oil. So just if it's been sitting in the cupboard for a really long time, just really smell it, make sure that it's still okay, because it's that oxidation process. And so that's why it's a good idea to keep it in the dark in the cupboard or in a dark bottle. And that's why the bottles for olive oil are often a darker color. It's just to prevent that oxidation. So we talked a little bit about the types of oils to eat. I also just wanted to mention nuts. Obviously, nuts are also a good option with the oil incorporated. Just be aware they're pretty high carb. I particularly like a handful of smoked almonds. Pretty delicious, or almonds that I've just tossed in some tamari sauce, which is a bit like soy sauce, but without sugar and things, and just toss it in and pop it in the oven and just roast those nuts. Pretty delicious, very easy to overeat them, and because it takes a while for our fullness signal, which is our leptin, because that takes a while to catch up. It takes about 20 minutes after eating for our leptin signal to go to our brain to tell us that we're full. So very easy to overeat on those. So just be careful if you're eating nuts and you are trying to lose weight or maintain your weight, just to hold off on that a little bit. So that's the main thing I wanted to talk to you about, is what fats to eat on keto. And as ever in We Love Smart Keto, we always focus on reducing the amount of processing in the foods that we're eating. So try as much as possible to get the fats in the whole food that you're eating. When you are adding fats or oils to what you're eating, try and make that as close to nature as you possibly can. So for example, if you're eating butter and you can afford grass-fed butter, that's better. Well, obviously the cow was grass-fed, not the butter, but try and do that. If you can't afford it, if it's a bit expensive, that's fine too. But just try and be aware that to get what you're eating is as close to nature, close to the original as you can, as low processed as possible is really helpful. So I hope that you've really learned something from this live. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be really interested in the comments to hear any insights that you've got out of this. And if you do need to go and clean up your cupboards and go through and just do an inventory on what's in your cupboards. Sometimes when you go into your larder or your pantry, sometimes you find that really weird and wacky oil that you bought, a long time ago and is sat in the back because you weren't quite sure what to do with it. Chances are if it's been sitting in there a long time, it's probably gone rancid. So you might want to get rid of it. There is actually one other oil I meant to mention that I forgot to mention, which is actually a really lovely oil, is walnut oil. Walnut's pretty good and, pretty low processing, but just be aware, try and buy the best quality that you can. So I hope that's really useful. I'll try and pop in again a bit later in the week, and we've got a bunch of questions in the group. I see there's a stream with a whole bunch of questions on it, so I need to come back into the group later in the week and answer those, so I'll do that. So please make sure you pop your questions either on this stream or on this post, or else just anywhere in the group. We'll spot them and collect them up together, and we'll come back and answer them another time. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon again on Love Smart Keto. Cheers. Bye.